Industrialization. Something meant to bring the world into a new era. But why? What was wrong with the way things were? Open land, free country, and living life the way it was meant to be.
So, this happened. Apparently, oh, that's even worse. I decided to do some editing, like, immediately after recording the last bit of my video, like, right after my outro, saying, alright, peace, you know, all that, how I do that. My last moments, apparently, because I forgot to either exit the game or at least pause it, and now I'm running back, and my items are probably despawned. Oh, hey, look at that. My amazing handiwork right there. It's almost like I just did that a few hours ago. Get it? Oh my goodness, I almost fell down that hole. Oh my goodness, I actually have stuff there. Please don't despawn in front of me. I still am traumatized from the nether exploration. Oh my goodness, okay. Ooh. I got lucky my stuff didn't despawn. That's actually really fortunate. Okay. Note to self, do not just leave the game running while not being paused. You know, that's probably a good rule to live by. And now that I had my stuff back, I immediately got to work collecting all the materials. I was chopping down trees, like a lot of them. I was getting all the wood I could ever need. I was fixing my tools, because honestly, chopping all those trees did a number on my axe. And then I was back to chopping down more trees, single-handedly causing permanent effects to the ecosystem. And then I got to mining. I was mining diorite. I was mining granite. I was mining stone. I was mining calcite. I was collecting everything I needed. And eventually, I had most of what I needed. And I think that's just about good enough. Let me just put these materials in here, and ooh man, that's a lot. Let me tell you, collecting these materials has not been a quick process. Let me head up to the surface and actually show you what I mean. Ah, there we go. Sunlight, it's been a while. Finally out of the caves and back on the surface. Let me show you how much this has been. This material collection, just looking at my inventory, you could already see how bad it has been. And I got some diamonds that I'm gonna mine in a second, but I'm gonna show you all this first. This is a little bit insane because this is not even like all of the materials that I need for this build. I'm gonna need even more, so I don't even know how many more shulker boxes I'm gonna need, but I have a bunch of the main blocks that I'm going to need for this build. And look in here, I had to get a lot of different wood. Oh, look at all these spruce logs and dark oak. Man, it was a lot of wood chopping. But I got it done. I am ready to build. Well, not really, because I have so much more to do still. But yeah, you can see it's been a lot of work, a lot of material gathering I've had to do. And I still have a few things that are just like chilling outside of my shulker boxes, like these granite slabs. I need to fix my pickaxes. And yeah, so it's a little mess right now. Anyways though, let's mine these diamonds really quickly, see how many we can get from this, because that is going to be very nice. This is the treat we get for doing all this material collection. Let's see, it was 15 diamond ore, and we're already above that, so that's looking pretty good. And let's see, 39 as the total. That's pretty good. And for right now, I'm going to hold off continuing the material collection because, honestly, I've already just done a lot of it. There's so much, like, from mining and then the gathering of the trees. Like, ugh. There we go. Got those stored for later. Alright, let's go and wait. That very important thing I have to do is oxidize some copper. I have a bunch of copper that I've been smelting up in between episodes, and, let me just grab one of these, place that in there. Perfect. And I need to oxidize some of these because I need to actually make a radio tower. Because in order for my news station to work, there actually has to be a radio tower for me to, you know, send out the signal and the video and all that. So I got to get that stuff built, and I need a lot of copper for that. Let's see. I'm not quite sure how much exactly that I need. I think at the very least I'll keep like 48 of it normal. Yeah, I think that should be good. And doing it just like this, 4 blocks away from each other, will give you the max efficiency of oxidizing copper. I think that's true. I might not be right about that, but from what I've seen, they oxidize pretty quickly when they're 4 blocks apart. So I guess now we just gotta... Look at that. One's already oxidized a little bit. Oh, there goes another one. And you know what? I think that is pretty good for now. That's a lot of copper placed. Unfortunately, the next part of this is not going to be quite as fun, because now we need to go and find a bunch of hives for bees, because obviously the copper, if I'm using copper, I'm going to have to wax it because I'm using the different stages of it, and I'm using them as like detailing and texture and that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, I'm going to need to get a lot of wax. That means finding bees, and that means making a bee farm, and I need to actually make some camp, and I need to make some campfires. So it's a process. There we go. Realistically, I'm not going to need that many, but you know what? It doesn't matter. One more thing, actually, before we go looking for the bees, I think I'm going to fix up my tools, because my pickaxe is looking pretty low. Alright, I think that's good enough. You know, it's basically fixed. And as for the other tools, I just don't feel like fixing them right now. Also, look at all this gunpowder. I got it mostly from the last episode because I used my tools a lot in the last episode, collecting grass, getting rid of sand. It was a lot. So yeah, we have a lot of gunpowder just ready to use. Alright, made it back home. Have everything I should need. Let me get some more rockets, actually. And honestly, I'm a little worried about this trip because I'm gonna have to collect a lot of beehives, flowers, and I really don't know how long it's gonna take, especially with having to fly really far. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really have a good location to go actually looking for the bees. And before I actually get to doing a montage of collecting the beehives, I want to show you something. So the Nether is a place that, you know, I don't really go that often. I've used it to explore, you know, get a whole bunch of resources and all that stuff. But I finally used it to actually travel quicker. I've made my first pathway. It goes over to the jungle and mangrove biome. It's very helpful. It's honestly not the best, you know, there's a little bit of a problem still, you know. It's not a full pathway is what I'm saying. But it gets the job done. And it makes it so I can travel... Ooh. But yeah, it makes it so I can travel a lot quicker. And we just go this way a little bit further. Yeah, here we are. The Pale Garden, Dark Oak, and some jungle when it loads in. And some jungle when it loads in. And some jungle when it loads in. There we go. Yeah, and now we are pretty far away. We have made, when it loads, we have made decent distance already, considering the base is all the way over there. And actually, now that I'm looking at the map, this might be the perfect location for beehives. Oh, it's one of these birch biomes. Okay. I don't think I've actually been here before. This is my first time seeing these. Oh. I think something's broken. Alright, there we go. All fixed. And I'm not really sure if the bees are out and about still, but let's just go ahead and take this seed. Oh, hello? Oh, there it is. Okay. And yeah, all 3. Perfect. So I guess I'll just be going around and getting a bunch of these. Ow, ow, okay. Alright, so 1 down. I don't even know. Let's just collect a bunch. Oh, okay. I think that is finally enough bees. Man, I'm sick of bees. Just doing this little adventure, collecting all these bees. Yeah, it's been like an hour. Yeah, it's been an actual hour just trying to find the bees. Before we head back, let me just show you the haul of bees that I have. I have gotten a pretty good amount, as you can see. These ones up here all have 3 bees in them each, and then these ones down here all have 2. So I'm gonna have to get some bees breeding up so we can get a little bit more in these ones, and maybe even create some other hives that I can use and have even more bees. Oh, something that just crossed my mind. Ow, this tunnel is so dangerous. Something that crossed my mind is actually, I need iron for the bee farm because I'm gonna need a lot of hoppers. So, I might have to go mining if I want to make the bee farm before the actual steel factory. Yeah, we might have to go mining a little bit. But surely it won't take that long, you know. How much iron could we possibly need if we only need a lot? We needed a lot of iron. And a lot of iron is what we have. Ignore the mess. It is horrible, I know. But here, I've collected a bunch of iron. I even got a music disc in the process. And I even got some diamond ore and some redstone. I decided to collect the redstone. Not many other ores, though. Just these few because these are really what I wanted mostly. So, yep, we're just gonna let all this iron smelt up and just wait. And we'll just, you know, I didn't plan ahead. I'm just kind of hoping this is enough iron. And while we wait for that, I'm going to mine these diamonds to see how much we actually get from this. This episode is so strange. This is the second time I'm mining diamonds. Isn't that weird? I don't even do it that much. And hello, be quiet, please. You're being too loud. All right, let's see. Oh, almost a stack of diamonds. That's pretty good. I'm not saying that's really good. And luckily, it was enough iron to do exactly what I needed to. I made the hoppers that I needed, and I even have more iron left over. So, you know, this will be handy for later on. And let me show you over in this room. This is a part of the house you don't really see that often. And especially this part, this room has still... Get over there. Still, please, come... Bee, move. Wrong way. Go. There you go. But yeah, you don't really see this room that often, which it still had those unfinished blocks, which I completely forgot about. Bees started escaping from there, and it was a little bit of an issue, but I fixed it. But I've been using this room a little bit for the bees just to get some honey. Not even really that. It's mostly because I needed to breed a few bees. And so yeah, after this bee goes in their hive, then we can go ahead, take these guys out of here, and go ahead and head to the nether. And yes, we are going to be heading to the nether to make the bee farm, like I suggested earlier. And this next part, I'm not looking forward to, because I am going to be breaking bedrock today. Yeah, the exact same way that I lost my hardcore world. That's what I'm doing. So yeah, it's kind of something I'm not really looking forward to. I'm going to try not to die. I got my chest plate in here. But yeah, it's just making me think of my hardcore world. And yep, I think that's pretty much everything. We can just make our way over to the nether and... Hey, finally! I don't even know how many times that took me, but I'm glad to get that done. Man, I suck at this. And I'm alive! I can take my stuff back out of here. Alright, now let's go ahead and quickly make this bee farm. Alright, it's been a little while. I've been letting the bee farm run. Oh yes, and I completely forgot. I added a chunk loader over here, so the bee farm has been working in the background even while I have been at my base. And I will show you also, as we go through this, you will see something great. Here we have the portal on top of the ceiling of the nether. I went ahead and did it off camera just to get it out the way. and it is great. I love it. We just go straight to the bee farm, have the chunk loader, and we can load the chunks, you know, wherever we're at. And let's check this out. Let's see what we have. Okay, yeah, actually that might be, I don't think, more than enough. We're gonna have to let it go for a little bit longer, but this is definitely a good start. And you can see I also have some honey being collected, and oh yeah, there's some baby bees in there. I kind of accidentally killed a bunch of bees, but we're not gonna talk about that. That's not important how it happened. Oh, hey, a little bit more. Hey, a little bit more. And yeah, so this is working pretty well. I'm glad to have it done, and I will not be messing around with bees anytime soon. And we'll just continue letting that go in the background as we do other things. Now we have to actually focus on copper, because I was looking at the resources, and actually let me just show you. So if we're looking strictly at the copper materials that I need, you can see I need quite a bit. And the amount of lightning rods I need, oh my goodness, almost 200. Yeah, it's a little bit of a problem. I don't think I'm gonna have enough copper for that. But you know, let's just get this copper that we have now, and can I like craft it to make it like this? Oh, okay, I can. So yeah, let me just collect these up for now, and if I need to place some of these back down, I guess I will. There we go. That took a little bit, but yeah, we don't actually have that many oxidized, so I gotta see how expensive this really is gonna be. Okay, so I actually came up with a great solution for this problem. As you can see down there, I have the material list for only the oxidized copper, which if I do it this way, we start with the oxidized and we go down. Oh, okay, I thought that was gonna give 2. I guess I'm a lot better off than I thought. But yeah, my thought process was we'll just use the oxidized for what we need down here, and then if we need something else, we can just expose it a little bit, turn it into, you know, weathered instead. But I'm thinking we're probably gonna have more than enough of everything that we need. All right, there we go. The copper has all been waxed. I just decided to get it out the way, and while I was actually letting the bees make the honeycomb that I needed, I collected up a little bit more materials for the actual steel mill. So we are a step closer to getting to that too. I'm thinking I'm probably going to need to use the rest of these. Maybe. We'll see. I know I need a lot of materials for this really big building, and that's not even to mention the inside. I don't even have the inside fully planned out, so it's going to be something we have to do as we go. But the steel factory is something we'll get to soon. For now, it is time to build this radio tower. Yeah, that way the news station can actually broadcast news, and it will just look pretty nice. Yeah, let's build this. And just a quick little time lapse later, we have a beautiful radio tower. And yes, it's a little foggy in the distance. Let me get a little bit closer so you can really see all the details in this thing. Look at it. As you can see, excuse you. As you can see, it goes higher than the mountain. Please, I'm doing something here. It goes high. It goes higher than the mountain here to give its extra height and be able to get all the radio signals that it needs to. And I think it looks pretty good. Even though it is like the same color as the mountain behind it, I feel like it still is able to stand out apart from it due to the copper. And the copper is something that I I really like about it. Like, I know I could have done like all gray, but I felt like all gray would have looked kind of boring, so I decided to use copper with this, and I think it turned out like really well. Not to mention I used a lot of lightning rods to get little details in there, like skinnier beams going across, and then I even have some at the top. And if you look very carefully, it's a redstone torch up there to give that little bit of light. And I feel like it's the perfect fit for this industrial district. This place is coming together well. And if I'm being honest, I've designed stuff for this place. Not like new buildings, but I've designed the roads. And ooh, I can't wait to show you those, but that's gonna have to wait till next episode. And of course, now that we have the radio tower, we will now be able to have Heartwood News officially open. That's right, our news station will finally be reporting news. That honestly is probably released before this episode if everything's going according to plan. Anyways though, I need to go fix my tools, and then I have a little bit of terraforming to do. As you can see below me, this is where the steel mill is going to be. But I'm going to just get the rest of the materials for the building off camera, just make it a little bit easier on myself. But we have to flatten down that land a little bit more, just get it leveled, and then we can get to building. But before I can do that, I need to go repair my tools. And I've gone ahead and done a little bit of terraforming to get this build ready. It took a little while, but it is now looking good and flat for this build. And you might be wondering what is going on with some of these blocks, because I did decide to do some of the groundwork before actually making the building, just to get it out of the way, so I wouldn't have to place a bunch of sand and then replace it again. And yeah, so it looks a little weird now, but it'll make sense in a second when we get to the actual build. I'll show you from above too, because you can start to see the scale of this thing, and it's a decent sized building. I'm kind of worried that I'm not going to be able to get some of the stuff done today, but the building itself, 100% going to be getting done. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to build it in segments. We're going to start with the main building first, which is going to have the actual iron farm inside of it. But anyways, let's get into a time lapse of getting the steel factory actually built after all this time. Let's go. And with that, the steel factory is done. Man, oh man, did this thing take a long time. This definitely was a project. But just look at it. It looks so good. And the smoke coming out of it and everything. Ah man, I gotta show you this place. Just looking at the industrial district just come together looks amazing. And this is just the latest thing. You know, we've only worked on what, 2 episodes now of the industrial area, and it's already looking like really nicely if I do say so myself. But that does remind me, I have been neglecting the actual Wild West City, so oops, yeah, I gotta get back to that soon. Next episode we'll be doing stuff with that. And here we get a little bit closer, and I don't really have a road connecting up to there yet, and ignore the materials in those chests because, you know, I'll get to those eventually. But I did clear up the shulker boxes at least, you know, I had a whole bunch here and oops, I missed one. But But yeah, let me show you around because it's a pretty big place. So we got a lot of things to go over. First off, here is the pathway, the actual entrance to the steel factory. And you can see we have grass, we have little trees around. I'm very happy with that tree. It's very simple, but I think it turned out pretty well, like the layers. And this one has the layers too, if you can kind of tell. And there is 2 different pathways coming off from the first one. You go to the main entrance, or you can go to the side entrance. The side entrance technically also being the front entrance. This is the main entrance that workers would be going through. That one is mostly for deliveries, but this one is the one you'll actually enter from. And yeah, there's a few things missing in here. So obviously this room is empty for now, but eventually I'm thinking of having maybe my super smelter in here. I don't know. I have two rooms that could hold the super smelter, and this is one of them. And over here we go to the main hall of the factory and all its grandness. As you can see, I added some rafters. I'm very happy with the way those turned out, but we'll get to that in a second. Let me show you around down here. We'll start from the entrance over here. This is where deliveries get brought to, like certain deliveries, important deliveries, strictly for the factory. Like things they need to actually produce the steel, that kind of stuff, like the raw ore will be delivered into here. And actually that's I need to add some raw iron ore. That's a good idea. And we got some storage here, some pillars, and then we'll get to that in a second. But up here there is some little windows and a nice little walk area, and we're missing a part there, but that's because I'm just running out of time. And yeah, I'll finish this part up eventually. I'm just not sure what to do with it yet. But this is the second area I've been thinking about putting the super smelter in. I could put it along this wall, which will make it so I have a really big super smelter and can get basically whatever I need to cooked up in really fast time. And then let me show you over to this room, because this room is actually rather important, and you can already see there's some windows. And oh yep, there you can hear that. Hopefully that's not too loud. Let me turn that down. Yeah, you can hear the iron golems dying, but we're gonna ignore that for now. Here is the break room, the most important part of the factory. You gotta have your break rooms, of course, because as you know, every employee must have a 30-minute break, even though you're here for 8 hours a day. And in those 8 hours, we're gonna work you as much as possible without violating any guidelines. Only through loopholes, of course. But yeah, you gotta have the break room, is what I'm saying. Otherwise, people in this place are gonna go crazy. And this break room serves another purpose. There's a little trapdoor that leads us down here to the iron collection area. And as you can see by the number of poppies, I had to spend a lot of time in here waiting to get iron. I don't even want to know how much time I spent. Maybe almost 100 days in this world just being AFK. The iron farm was not working very well, if I'm being honest, and I even tried to make a chunk loader over here to get things to, you know, work while I was out of the area, but it didn't really go to plan. So now there's just a chunk loader here and it's not really turned on. And yeah, the iron farm not very efficient at all. I mean, it's gotten more efficient, but like when I first built it, it was very slow. Now it seems to be working a little bit better though. Also, we have a painting here just because, you know, improve the morale of the employees. And then we'll go up these stairs into the third and final room of the factory. This is another delivery area, but this one is delivery by train. And that's why there's these train tracks. Carts will come in here delivering mostly coal because, you know, there's gonna be a tunnel right over there. I'm gonna have train tracks going across the water, and it's gonna have, I'm gonna go like build a tunnel through there, and then maybe a mine shaft, something in there. I haven't planned it out fully, but that's the idea. It's gonna go straight from a mine over there, and yeah, bring a whole bunch of coal over here. Maybe the raw iron too. I'll have to figure out what the other delivery area will be for. And yeah, of course, you would just go up here, grab what you need, and haul it down into here, and then, you know, throw it in the furnaces. And this area does need a little bit more work. I gotta put the lights in, And then I gotta add a secondary wall against this one because I'm gonna be copying the color scheme block palette of this wall and putting it over here. So there's a little bit of a gap right now, but just ignore that. And finally, we make our way back out of the factory, and we'll just cut across the train tracks a little bit. I gotta add a little more grass around here because it's a little empty right now. But then we get to back here and the big beautiful fences, and as you can see here, I added some little details with custom blocks, the little ones of course, using stone bricks, and so it pops out a little bit more than the normal wall would, and I think it looks pretty good like that. And then of course there is this whole area back here. I kind of forgot there's supposed to be some iron doors here, and I hear a little bit of an issue. There we go, all dealt with. But yeah, there are supposed to be some iron doors here, so you can't just go up and touch these because these get extremely hot. And the reason, you know, you might have noticed the gradient too. The gradient's not just because it looks good. All the smoke up there has actually stained all of this. So it's all darker at the top, and it gets a little bit lighter as you go down because, you know, the smoke hasn't stained, you know, all the way down here because it just can't. And maybe at some point I will add some more back here because for now it is a little empty. I might add some boxes and maybe some carts, stuff like that, but for now it's gonna be a little empty because I just need to release the episode. And one last building on the tour of the steel factory is this one. It is empty, completely unfinished on the inside, but this is supposed to be the foreman's house. Though, you know, the person who runs this whole operation lives here. Obviously not yet because they need an interior. So for now, they're just living somewhere off site. Yeah, but eventually the foreman will be living over there. But yep, that is the steel factory. It's taken me a very long time to actually build this thing, and even longer to design it. But yes, the steel factory is finally complete. Next will be coming pathway, oh, not next episode, but like in the industrial area, next will be coming new pathways, new buildings, and just more design, honestly, because I'm just getting started. This is only the beginning. As for big buildings, yeah, that's going to take a little bit longer. Oh yeah, and before I forget, I actually got some more diamond ore. You might be wondering, Creech, how did you get this diamond ore? This is the third time you're mining diamond ore in this episode. And honestly, I told you earlier about how the iron farm just wasn't producing fast enough. I went mining. Yeah, I went mining. I got a lot of iron just from mining. I did that just to speed up the process, and it helped a little bit, but not really. I ended up going back to just AFKing over at the iron farm, and luckily it started working faster. Oh yeah, and another thing, my levels, as you can see, they're very low. I got killed by the zombie in the iron farm like multiple times. It was rather unfortunate. And dang, 59 diamonds. What is going on today? I got great luck. Anyways, though, that is where I'm going to end today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. We've gotten a radio tower built, Heartwood News is up and running, and we even have a new steel factory producing just about all the steel we need. And hopefully that means we can build a train station soon. I look forward to making that. But anyways, I hope you have enjoyed. I have been Creature Rampage, and I will hopefully see you all in the next video. Peace!